so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. It is terrific Thursday here in the studio. I've got my good friend, brother from another mother, Christopher David Jackson here with me. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning,
Thursday, or Jupiter Day, or Ascension Day.
Oh, it is Ascension Day, huh?
Yeah.
Does that mean we're going to all just finally just levitate into the clouds and journey through the cosmos, or what?
I mean, maybe our podcast today will catalyze some of this amazing shift.
Yeah. Well, for now, I'm here in the studio, and let's talk about some things, some whatnots, something juicy. I have no doubt there will be plenty goodness that comes through. But before we jump right in, I would like to take a moment and read a review on iTunes. I haven't been reading reviews the last week or so. There's been so many different amazing friends and guests on, and so I've been neglecting my reading of reviews, and I want to honor the people that are doing that because it really does fuel my fire and, to continue this labor of love. And I just appreciate it so much. And so this one came in on iTunes by DBB1211. The title is "This Podcast Changed My Life." I love this podcast so much. Pick any episode and listen. I promise it will speak to you in ways you never imagined possible. This podcast honestly changed my life. Not to be overdramatic. There were obviously other factors involved, but this was such a bright light for me when I needed it most. It has changed my perspective and opened my eyes to so many things. This review is long overdue. I started listening in the fall of 2016, around the same time I started practicing yoga. At the time, I was teaching high school Spanish, planning a trip for 19 high schoolers to Costa Rica, recording an EP, and performing nights and weekends. Let's just say I really needed this podcast to find me. I stumbled upon it when searching the word positive and started listening every day on my way home from work. I wish I could remember the exact episode. Someday I'll find it. But I remember having a moment of extreme clarity and everything just clicked. I've since quit my teaching job and I'm pursuing music full time. This podcast has restored my faith in humanity and has made me feel confident that there are others in the world who want to better themselves, raise their vibrations, and be a light for others. Also, there's just something about Brandon's voice that is unique, comforting, and honest. It really is a daily conscious effort to keep my vibration up. I often struggle with it, but I continue to listen daily, at least one episode a day. I feel grateful to have found this podcast. Give it a listen. You won't regret it. I give it a 10 out of 5. Thank you, Brandon and guests, for all you do. Wow, that's quite the review. Well, DBB1211, if you would, send send over your music. Well, we love amazing music, and I love just hearing that I played some small role, and all the amazing guests that I have, like Chris, have helped to contribute in any way, shape, or form to you clarifying your path. That is so inspiring, and I'd love to hear what we've sprinkled a little spice on to help inspire further, because I can only imagine your music has come further now that you are putting all of your energy and intention into it, right? So, that being said, and you can send that over to Brandon at positivehead.com. And for that matter, any of you guys who have questions, I love to get questions from you. We haven't taken any in a minute, but we definitely will be circling back to that. Also, a few other little pieces of business. You can find the show now on Spotify. For any of you who are on Spotify, even if you're listening elsewhere, if you can just go and follow the show, I believe that'll help us to reach new people and get more exposure on the platform, which is quickly growing in the podcasting world. Let's see. Other than that, I think that's all the business for today. I want to jump right in now, Chris, and talk to you a little bit about what's great about doing these regular co-hosting episodes with you is you have so much that's bubbling through you, and so it's really for me it's wonderful because it's like I get the chance to not just talking to the microphone alone, which I enjoy doing, but it's always nice to have someone to bounce things off of. And you have so much coming through and so much to share. And we have different styles of the way, we share things. So I feel like it's so complimentary and you just have so much magic to give. So thank you, man. I'm anxious to hear and I also like to give some level of creative control, or at the very least share it with my co-host. So, I'd love to hear what's bubbling up for you that you're feeling like sharing today.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that you're wearing a holy garment today, too. That's pretty awesome.
This is funny. This is like a sweater that my mom probably got me 10 years ago, and it's just continued to disintegrate, but I love like the weight of it and the feel of it so much. So I think about it. Sometimes I'll be doing interviews with, these people and who've never met me or seen me before, and I'll have the camera on and I'm thinking, I'm wearing this shirt that is just like full of holes. I mean, in my armpits, like going down the middle of my chest, and they're thinking, wow, this guy needs a job.
It reminds me of those kids that have like their baby blanket still and the whole thing is disintegrated. Oh my God. It's awesome.
It's barely hanging on.
So good. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I am so lit up right now and in love. It's like crazy. I met this glorious woman and it's just been such a great safe space for me to like feel fully expressed. It's like, wow. And so this thing came through this morning and I just started like writing to her. It's amazing how people can be like this muse for us. And it was just saying, thank you. And then, we realized after I wrote this to her, I was like, I hope you don't mind if I share this with other people, because I feel like this message actually would be really touching for others. And she's like, it's totally meant for the world. So I'm now going to share that with you guys. Yeah.
And now it gets launched.
Yeah. It's thank you for being the gift that you are. You truly are a present, and you are the present. Please take a moment to get present to that, especially since today is Thor's Day or Jupiter Day. And this is the day of gifts and benevolence. Let us ask ourselves today what the quality of our gifts are going to be for the world with our words that we think and speak and be. How much love do we want to give today in our listening, in our seeing, in our speaking, and in our being? Seems like a great place to start could be with ourselves. Let's get our fountains filled up with so much love that we are overflowing, and then it will be really easy to spill some of that overflow onto others. Be you till full and overflowing on the world. We may even go as to do it in ways that are uncommon for us. But what about your body? Wow. It's amazing how it functions all off of a center of love, right? I mean, your heart makes the whole thing possible. It just spends its entire life giving life to everything, empowering everything. Wow. There is so much everything we need to know, we can actually tune into and learn from our bodies. Like now look at your kidneys. They clean all of the water that flows through your body, right? And your liver, it cleans everything out too and metabolizes it. It's like all of these organs are constantly doing everything to clean out all of the things that are not in highest service to you. What if we started living as that intelligence, starting with our hearts, the first organs in our body, in the embryo, that give life to everything, that creates the sex organs, that creates the brain, and wow, look at that too. It's like the sex organs, which are closest to the earth, separate into duality, right? Just like we separate in our earthly bodies from everything else as the gift to be able to experience all of this magic and this love and life and light through these subjective vessels that we live in, right? And then as it creates the brain, that brain, which is closest to the sky, is unified, right? It's not separate like the sex organs. It's the different context. So when you look down from Father Sky, you see everything is one, just like the brain is one. When you look up from Mother Earth, you see everything is separate. And when we put everything from the context of Father Sky, all of a sudden we see that all of these religions that have been, we've kind of had this thing lately about the patriarchy and how the patriarchy has created all of this evil in the world. And yeah, it has. And part of that is because I think it's actually seeing things through the lens of the feminine, which is separation. When if we actually just put everything back into divine alignment and we see everything from the Father Sky perspective, we see everything is one, everything is good as God, as love, and then we clean our ways of thinking, those thoughts, those beliefs, and we get present to, wow, we really are the present moment. And we present our gifts to the world. So what's the quality of that we're giving? And it's really our thought become the filter or the lens through which we perceive all of reality and through which the light and life that we are projects through onto the screen for everyone else to experience and reflect back to us. This is where the quality of our experience is always a direct reflection of the quality of our being, and where we can always be empowered, bringing it back to us, like whatever gifts we're experiencing and the way that we're perceiving them is actually the gift that we are being for ourselves, right, to interpret and project onto everybody else. Wow.
Wow, both spelled backwards and forwards equally. Yes. Doubly wow. You know what comes up for me when you're saying all that, talking about the organs and the heart, and it's like, it was a big, I think maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, time is a funny thing for me these days, but I was talking about listening to the Michael Singer audio book. And The Untethered Soul. And he is talking about how the heart is the source of all energy. It's like if the heart is open, then you have plenty of energy. You have tons of energy. If the heart is closed, then you have now cut off your energy supply. So, when you were first reading what you wrote this morning, which was very beautiful, by the way, and I instantly thought, if you're constantly checking in with yourself and how am I feeling, what's going on, in checking in, imagine if we just make it a part of our daily routine, really checking in with our hearts and saying, where am I now? It's 2:05 in the afternoon. How am I feeling? Let me check in with my heart. Is my heart open? Is it closed? Am I feeling energized? Am I not? And if you can make that correlation that your heart is sort of the operating system more so than the brain, which we're so lost in the head all the time when we're like scrolling on Facebook or lost in social media or any of those things, and we're just are in our head just pondering thoughts over and over and over again. It is sort of cutting off your energy a lot of times, or expending your energy, or making, kind of draining you a little bit. Whereas if you're moving into the heart and you're opening the heart, and that's one thing, Chris, I notice about you a lot of times is your heart is so blasted open so much of the time, it's like contagious, and your energy as a result is like, I think it's like all you can do not to howl every 5 minutes. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. A lot of people are missing that. They feel like, run down and not energized and not excited. And you can correlate that to your heart being closed.
Yeah, it's true. So this is what, like, the thing that I got out of this, the reflection is like, wow, I could just start every morning getting present to like all of the love that there is in my body, right? Of all of these different parts actually like just doing their part, constantly giving and living in service to me so that I can be here in this experience. It's like the miracle of life.
Right.
Right. And then like allowing that to center me back into like, how am I being in integrity with that? Right? Like wherever I'm thinking less of people, right, I can actually be an organ that cleanses those negative interpretations.
Right.
I can start cleansing everything that is less than out of my mind.
Right.
Right. And then cleanse it out of other people's experience too. Right. And this like brings us back to the power of oneness, the power of being pure, unadulterated love. Right? Becoming the divine children again. Like where we are no longer authoring these stories of lack, but where we reclaim the authority in our lives for being the ones who created those stories and those interpretations as children when something challenging happened, and we abandoned the beauty of being pure love because we thought that it wasn't received or that it wasn't appreciated, and in fact, it's like when we look back and I think back to the times like where I was a little kid and I was speaking and, I got scolded and I made that mean that, okay, like it's not okay for me to speak. It's not okay for me to be pure love. I need to become adulterated, which means to become impure. and start using force, and manipulate others' perception of me rather than being that heart which holds on to nothing.
Yeah.
When we're being that heart frequency that holds on to nothing, we have everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're bringing up something that's really powerful, and probably most of the listeners here think that I'm as like positive, optimistic of a person as possible to some degree. But, when I really check in with myself and I look at any moments, and it's true, I am that way the majority of the time, but we all have those moments where we can slip into judging someone or kind of seeing the worst in someone or are creating the worst in someone. I think that's really my point here is how much are you co-creating the way someone shows up? Maybe someone you're interacting with in your life is surprise face. They're working on themselves and they're still growing. And there may be some glitches along the way. There may be some things that become apparent to you where their energy feels off, or it feels like they're not in their highest integrity or whatever. So in those moments, what do you do? Well, I've certainly had those moments where then I can catch myself judging them, putting them in a box and labeling them, and then saying, okay, now they don't deserve my love. Right? Fully. I'm cutting myself off. And if you instead, in those moments, if you can really tune into yourself when you're doing that, and what are you doing in that moment? You're closing your heart, right? And you can say, hold on. What if I'm actually the one where to transmute that with my perception of them to only, it's like the We Are From the Future video that I'm sure I've talked about at some point that I really love. I think I shared with you before, Chris, on YouTube, and it talks about how it's impossible the photons making it to the center, but all the plant does is like focus on let there be light, all the possibilities of it making it through the maze. They use a analogy of people running through the forest blindfolded, and you see, and if you guys search We Are From the Future on YouTube, you'll see this video. It's very, very powerful. And it shows people running blindfolded through the forest, trying to make it to the, and the analogy is they represent, the chance of the photon making it to the center of the plant to actually feed it light is as improbable as you running or people running through the forest blindfolded, a thick forest, and not hitting trees. But what he's basically saying in the analogy is the plant itself, the heart of the plant, only doesn't focus on all the possibilities, the infinite possibilities where the photon, the lights would collide and not make it to the center. It just chance. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. And then when the one makes it through out of all the improbabilities, that's when it focuses its attention on that one. And as a result, the quantum superposition collapses into that being the victor, right? And so we can do that same thing with all the people in our lives. We had a couple days ago where Connor and Lindsay, my friends, were on, and they really wanted to talk about, the state of the shadow government and Trump and these things, which typically aren't places that I go to much, but I like to explore all things and wanted to let them have the platform to talk about this. And, it triggered quite a few people. What someone wrote me afterwards, Andy Starbuck wrote me, P-Head said, what if we're actually altering reality with our higher vibrations, beliefs, and consciousness, and actually changing Trump from the bad guy to the good guy? And I'm like, yes, now you're on to something. It's like, I'm not saying, first off, good and bad are illusion. We've talked about that, right, Chris? But everyone showing up as you create them is, I feel, the next level of being we talk about it being Ascension Day. That is what ascending would look like, does look like. I believe that's a part of the formula, is co-creating the characters in your life by looking at them and saying, let there be light, let there be light. Oh, I'm seeing something out of alignment. I'm giving that no energy. Let there be light. Right? What a powerful way to approach your interactions. And I've had that experience with you, even someone as close to you as you, my dear friend. It's like everyone, my parents, my brother, it's like, if you look, you have this option laid out before you in almost every interaction in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. What just came up for me, I don't know where or why this came, but this was coming through this morning too, and it's Shakespeare, right? It's the quality of mercy is not strained. You remember this quote?
No, I don't think I've heard this one.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. It's mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power. the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptered way. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. An earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, through justice be thy plea. Consider this, that in the course of justice, none of us should see salvation. We do not pray for mercy, and the same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which if thou follow this strict court of Venice, must needs give sentence against the merchant there. Wow. Like the whole idea, the heart, like nothing is strained, right? It literally doesn't filter anything. It gives life to everything. It holds on to nothing. And in holding on to nothing, it has everything.
Yeah.
Wow. So if we all center ourselves, like we have this choice of seeing ourselves as how we want to be, right? I am is one of the most powerful statements that we can make in the English language. The personal pronoun, like if I say I am angry, I'm immediately creating myself as that. Right, in my thoughts and my words. And there's almost like an inescapableness to it, right? Because there's no space between me and that emotion. Really powerful. What if I said, I am love? I am heart. And that's like our mantra. So we give to everybody without strain. And in so doing, we have everything, and everything transforms into its highest potential and probability and outcome before us. Like this frequency literally dissolves all resistance. There's a quote that somebody actually just thanked me for having on my Facebook page. And it's this, here it is. Go and love someone exactly as they are, and then watch how quickly they transform into the greatest, truest version of themselves. Yeah. When one feels seen and appreciated in their own essence, one is instantly empowered. And that quote comes from someone named Wes Angelozzi.
Yeah, I think I've heard that one before.
Angelozzi. Yeah, I'm not familiar with who that is, but it's so true to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we wind down today's episode, I just want to say that I love each and every one of you exactly as you are, where you are. The journey is the goal. You know, if you can cultivate that love for yourself and quit being so hard on yourself and quit being so hard on others, right? You will see whatever you're putting out, the universe is going to reflect back. So just remember that. Whatever mercy you give, that's the mercy that's going to come back to you. Whatever pardoning you do, that's how much you will be pardoned. And it is such a powerful realization. And anytime you're hurting, guess what? Your heart is closed. Anytime you're judging, your heart is closed. Yes, you're going to bump up against a lot of quote unquote imperfect people, and use it as your opportunity to open your heart and say, let there be light. Let there be light. I'm going to focus on the light in this person. I'm going to give no energy to this thing about them that annoys me or is ugly or is whatever. It's like it's not even there. And if we can practice that and all practice that, imagine the power of transformation that just spreads like the best kind of love virus there's ever been.
It's true. You know, you think about just adding to this really quick to like really ground it in for people, you know, that first act of Les Miserables, right? Where Jean Valjean, you know, steals all of those things from the church when the priest took him in and fed him, you know, then he goes and takes all of the golden crucifixes and candlesticks and And
he was
gets
basically
caught.
he was basically, just to clarify, because I think you've told me this story before. So the priest takes him in, takes good care of him, he feeds him, treats him like a king, and then he turns around and steals from the priest, right?
From the church, yeah. I mean, he sees an opportunity to take all of that stuff, and then he gets caught, and the cops beat the crap out of him and drag his sorry ass back to the church. And the priest says, "What's going on here?" And they're like, "Father, we caught this man, with all of your things. And can you believe he tried to tell us that you gave them to him?" And without missing a beat, that priest, who could have easily said, "Oh my God, like what a despicable human you are, when I gave you all this stuff, and how dare you take from me?" Instead, without missing a beat, he goes, "Well, but of course I gave them to him. But you forgot the two most expensive ones." And he goes over, and these cops look at each other, and they're like
puzzled,
bewildered. They leave. And then Jean Valjean comes to him and falls to his knees in tears and is like, "Thank you so much for saving my life. I am so humbled and disgraced. Please take your things back." And the priest again says, "No, they're yours. Take them and share the abundance of your soul with the world." He, instead of seeing Jean Valjean through the lens of lack, he saw it as an opportunity to fill his cup. He was present to what we talk about in religion as the Holy Spirit, the whole Spirit, right? He saw Jean Valjean in his fullness and saw an opportunity to give him the material reflection of that fullness, so that he could then go share the fullness of his soul with the world. And Jean Valjean was recreated in that moment into his highest probability and outcome. He became a pillar in his society, giving to everyone else, taking care of everyone else. We have this opportunity every day, and we squander it because we see people through the lens of lack. And rather than creating them into their highest probability, instead, we come at it from this perspective of wanting to protect ourselves and protect others, which is very real in that domain. And yet it's just, there's a whole other dimension to reality. It's paradoxical, right? Where if you live from Father Sky, you see everything as whole and one. You are able to see the possibility of a future outcome rather than coming from the material perceptions, your past perceptions of lack and survival. You're actually centered in the technology of thrival. You're able to thrive because when you see everything through pure love, you hear everything through pure love. It's like, this is where we talked about this on shows before. Like somebody could literally say to you, "I hate you. I never want to speak to you again. You're an asshole." And by hearing that as pure love, you're like, "Thank you so much for letting me know that you hate me and that I'm an asshole. Could you help me understand how that's occurring to you so that I can be empowered to be the space of you knowing how loved, honored, and appreciated you are?" Because that's really what I'm about.
Yeah.
And immediately you transform. There's no conflict anymore. There is the heart radically integrates everything.
Yeah. Super powerful. Such a powerful episode for me. I'm sure for everyone listening. And what a fabulous, fabulous Thursday indeed. Yeah. We have ascended. Our work here is done, everyone.
You guys are all the gifts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for for dealing with all of the pain and the struggle and the suffering to get to this place, and being the gift that you are and presenting your gifts to the world. Yeah. And let's just all get present to what gifts we are, and the gift of the thoughts that we choose, to filter our reality and to filter the quality of what we give to others.
Yeah. Well, That's it for now.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
My heart is blasted open. I don't know about yours. I have a feeling everyone who's heard this episode is hearing this episode. Look at the ROI, the ripple of impact. We are doing it. You are doing it. You out there listening. This is yours to, just like the character in the story from Les Miserables, I forget his name, what you just said, but he went on. From that, he went on to become a pillar of his society, and that love that was given in that moment, the ripple of impact from that, like, who knows, right? It's just
how
like
many
went on and on.
lives were touched by that one moment. Like, and we have that capability. Wow. Okay, so I want to share one last thing because I know we're going to play a different song, and since the whole copywriting thing, I'm just going to like sing this song for you guys because it's wow. Cat Stevens this morning, and I was like, wow, this pretty much describes how I'm feeling like every day lately, and it's called "I Can't Keep It In." Oh, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've got to let it out. I've got to show the world's got to see all the love that's in me. I said, why walk alone? Or why worry when it's warm over here? You've got so much to say. Say what you mean what you're thinking, and think anything. Oh, why must you waste your life away? You've got to live for today, then let it go. Oh, lover, I want to spend this time with you. There's nothing I wouldn't do if you let me know. Oh, and I can't keep it in. I can't hide it, and I can't lock it away. I'm up for your love. Love heats my blood. Blood spins my head, and my head falls in love. Oh, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I gotta let it out. I've gotta show the world. World's gotta know of the love that lies low. Why can't you say? If you know, then why can't you say? You've got too much deceit. Deceit kills the light. Light has to shine. I said, shine light, yeah. Love, that's no way to live your life. You allow too much to go by, and that won't do. No, lover, I want to have you here by my side. Now don't you run, don't you hide while I'm with you. Ooh, and I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've got to let it out. I've got to show the world's got to see all the love that's in me. I said, why walk alone? Now why worry when it's warm over here? You've got so much to say. Say what you mean what you're thinking, and think anything. Why not? No, why not? Why not?
I love it. I don't even want to play the song I have queued up now. Guys, we talked about playing this. Chris wanted to, I usually give up the DJ booth when I have a guest on, and he wanted to play the Cat Stevens song. And I was like, oh, this song that he just sung. And I was like, I'm getting everything cleaned up with music and copywriting, and I can't play it. So we're going to play something else that I can play, but I'm going to hold off now because that is the song today. Way better than playing the recording is the live and direct from you, Chris's rendition. Thank you for not keeping that in, Chris, and letting it out. I love you, brother.
I love you. Fully receive. Like that message in that song is so fucking brilliant. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
Yeah. Well, that's it for now, everyone. Love you all so much. Until next time, journey well. Thank you, Chris.
Love you, Brandon. Thank you for the gift that you are. And thank you, all of you, for the gifts that you are. Amazing.
Awesome. That is a wrap.
You're a rock star.